Good evening, everyone, and thanks for joining me on this rendition of Speak Your Mind with Larry Cox. We've been gone really for like 5 weeks because we've been doing the joint show with the This Week in Rock deal with Alex McDonald. So this is my first week back in 5 weeks. So this is 6 weeks. And I'm glad to have all you here. And we've got a special guest tonight, and I'm going to bring on right now. So we've got actually a council person, Sherry Washington from the city of Conyers. And Sherry's coming on to actually talk about data centers too. And just so you guys know, I went to a meeting the other night that Sherry hosted. And I'll tell you what, Rockdale County does have a data center expert, and that's Sherry Washington. She knows all things data center. So we're going to bring her on and we're going to talk a little bit of data center. Hey Sherry, how you doing?
Hey Larry, how are you?
Doing good. I just told
Good, good.
everybody that Rockdale County does have a data center expert, and it's you, Sherry Washington,
Well,
because you got
well,
in on the
thank you.
ground floor years ago.
Right, exactly. So what actually happened was DC Blocks came to us and they presented us with this proposal for this data center and they gave us the building and I'd never heard 22, 23, 22 or 23. And at the time I was either,
Sherry, for some reason we got a bad connection.
oh, is that better? Is that better?
Your video, I mean your audio. We had good audio when we were doing everything right before.
You want me to call back in?
Yeah.
Okay. I'll call right back in.
So Sherry's going to go off and on because we had a really good connection before we did the primo and everything preview. So let's see here. Who do we? Let me go ahead and say hello to everybody. We have Miss Vuka Russo is here. Sherry's here again. Let's see if we can add her. How are you this time?
I don't. It sounds.
Yep,
Is
you're
it
good.
better?
Yeah,
Okay. So when the DC Blocks um, presented to us, I was either chair or vice chair of the Conyers Rockdale Economic Development Council, and I had no idea what a data center was. But at the time, Eric Fears, who was a council member for the city of Conyers, Eric is a Georgia Tech graduate and he's all things technology. Well, he was so excited. He was like, "This is what we need. This is what we need in Conyers because it will spark technology development in the community, and it's going to it'll it'll minimize our infrastructure, but it will also bring a lot of dollars." And I said, well, that sounds all well and good, but I don't know what a data center is. So let me start doing the research on data centers because you all know I've voted against so many things coming to this community that I didn't want to, even though they were talking about a very significant um, investment, I wasn't going to bring anything that would be detrimental to our community, to this community. So I started doing the research. I actually started doing looking at the history of data centers, understanding what they are, understanding where they came from, how they started. Um, and I started visiting data centers. I visited data centers in North Carolina, Alabama, oh, Virginia, Loudoun County, Virginia has a huge data center population. And then I think Loudoun County is what got me vested that we would be okay because Loudoun County is one of the um, most affluent places in this country. They have a huge data center um, population because they have the data centers for the United States government up there, especially the Department of Defense. And those multi-million dollar houses pay almost zero taxes because the data centers supplement their tax base. And then they have a $20 million surplus every year that goes into their fund balance. So I was like, huh. And when you go up there, they protested data centers not because of any of the environmental things, because they wanted more diverse economic development, not because they didn't appreciate everything that the data centers were doing, not because of noise, not because of anything else. It was because they wanted other things there outside of data centers. So I started understanding the difference between data centers. You have your data centers that hold your high end clients like Meta, Google, uh, the Nvidia, all of which a lot of your AI, and then you have your data centers that host Bitcoin and things like cryptocurrency. Those are the data centers, and plus you have things that are using the best technology, like the what's it called, Colossus in Memphis, that is using turbine engines and things like that to fuel the data centers. Um, and so, I wanted to make sure that if it came to Rockdale County, we were getting the best, the latest and the greatest technology. No, I didn't want to have, I wanted to have minimal impact on Rockdale County residents. And that's what we negotiated. And I'm very, very proud to say that that's what we're getting with the data centers that is coming to Rockdale County.
Sherry, I went over to DC Blocks and sat right across the road from the one operational building they have. You don't hear anything.
Right.
You actually don't
Um,
hear anything.
I was looking at right. And so you're not going to hear, you don't hear anything from the, the, the buildings. As a matter of fact, I was looking at one of the videos that Alex McDonald did, and the airplane was louder, that went over was louder than the building. You could hear birds chirping. It was nothing. It
And
was
you can hear the
it's
gunshots from the firing range from the sheriff's department.
right. And so noise, absolutely. And let me tell you where it's coming from. The concern about noise is that there are data centers, like I said, that use that don't want to use the latest and greatest technology. So they're running diesel engines, or, which I don't even understand that because diesel is so expensive. But or they have these huge fans that they're using, that they're trying to cool the equipment off with, and the fans or the generators are the ones that are is using so much noise because they're loud. So no, that's not what we wanted, and that's not anything that I saw from DC Blocks. And if we had another um company to come and want to build a data center complex, it is it's on us to set the standards of excellence for this community and make the data center companies, they're they have the money, they can give us the best, and that's what we
They
need
can
to.
build it the way they need to. You're right.
Right, exactly.
They have almost unlimited capital to do what
Right,
they need to do.
to
And
do what they.
and then the one that they're showing on the internet with all that noise, I understand that's a Bitcoin one, and it was
Right, exactly.
a refurbished warehouse.
Right,
So, and I understand when you do these refurbished things, they are more difficult to deal with. But when you build from the ground up, they can build and mitigate, and especially when we're using these closed loop water systems, which is a one time charge. And in most of and
right.
what I understand is the newer one that said they trying to come, they don't even plan to use our water to charge it with. They are going to actually bring water in from an outside source to charge the system. So Sherry's froze up again. Are you back? need to log in and log out again. Yeah, yeah, Bill. I mean, Sherry's talking about there are some data centers, and that's why they've got this bad rep on some of the time with noises. There are a few data centers out there that actually use these generators all the time, and there are data centers that have uh, these giant. I mean, there are data centers that don't do it the right way, and those data centers are the ones that everybody goes gets this information and puts it out there um, when you know, and when you've got somebody trying to do it the right way, then then uh, that messes up everything for everybody, right? So what do? You've got to say, hey, we expect a certain standard. We expect you to do things a certain way, and let's make that happen. Well, while we wait for Sherry to come back on, let me go ahead and say hello to everybody that came in. William Campbell, thanks for joining us. Catherine Lynn, thanks for joining us. Thanks for joining us. Diana Lee, thanks for joining us. Charlotte Geller, thank you, Charlotte. Cheryl Moulton, Mary Boysworth, thank you for being here. Clayton Norwood, thank you. Thank you for being here tonight. Cheryl Garcia, thank you for being here tonight. And I think that's everyone who has said hello in the chat. So Sherry has officially logged off. So here she is again. We'll let her back in. Sherry, I've let you back in. Hopefully we can hear. You know, Sherry, we don't hear you. You've got really bad signal wherever you're at. Alex McDonald, thanks for joining us tonight, Alex. Sherry is attempting to use her phone, and she's mobile, and she just does that. And that's the problem we're having right now. And you know what? We do have those problems a lot of times when people use their phones and they're mobile. We just do not have a consistent signal or the consistency with that. So no, Sherry, I do not hear you. I mean, you're there. No, it's not a fiber issue. She's actually mobile, Charlotte. So she's in her car somewhere, and she's using her phone. So it's just a connection issue. Yeah, she had a good signal at one time, and it just went away.
It's the weather is bad here. Up
Okay.
here I am. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, I hear you. Yeah, James, I did say
Okay.
we had a question. So I did say that the did say that they were right now looking at not using Rockdale County Water Resources water to charge their system. They were actually looking at trucking the water in to actually charge the system, is what they were looking at. So
And
yeah,
so
I
the last
did
time,
say that because that's it.
well, the latest thing is that the newer um, centers are going to be waterless. They're using some kind of new technology that's ions far beyond my pay grade for um, for data
I heard
centers.
that
But
DC Blocks
um,
was yeah, yeah, I heard DC Blocks was going to do that
so
with one of their new buildings.
and if we have further data centers, I would want the latest technology for coming from them also. So here's the deal. We have to make them respect our community and love our community just as much as they love theirs. And if they're gonna put needed infrastructure in our community, we need to make sure that we're getting the best, the greatest, the latest technology, that they're giving us the best that there is out there, so that, and that they need to be good stewards of our county. And that's on us. That's on the elected. That's on um that's that comes with putting provision in the UDO that monitor data centers. That comes with making sure that we're holding them to a high standard of excellence when they come. There should, and I would be I would be very, very upset if what happens in Newton County with them moving forward with permits without them being approved by OSHA happened in Rockdale. If you want to see me upset, let them do something like that. Especially when we're trying to when people don't trust you, you have to dot all your I's and cross all your T's. And that was uncalled for, unconscionable, and that's not being a good neighbor.
You got to go above and beyond. You
Right,
got to go above and
exactly. You
beyond.
have to go. And one of the things that when you and I had our last conversation about data centers, you mentioned, making them enter into a community improvement or a
Community
community.
benefit agreement.
Right, a community benefit. And I think that's spot on. We as a community need to identify things that we want in this community and make one, like you said, they have almost unlimited resources. So bring some of those unlimited resources to our community, and let's move our community into a place where we can mutually benefit from this partnership.
So share,
And I think that was, go ahead.
and some people wanted to know some things. So, and I found out some
Okay.
things that I didn't know when we talked the other day. That when you guys were actually doing the DC, were actually competing with other counties, and some people wanted to know what other counties were you competing with, and what were they offering that you guys had to do your
Um,
negotiating.
I don't know what their incentive packages were. I know we were in competing with Lithonia and DeKalb because they're almost, so when a data center comes, they're looking at infrastructure and land. And so the South DeKalb, the Lithonia part, they had almost exactly what they DC Blocks needed at that time also. And I don't know what they were offering, but we weren't willing to um, do a straight 10-year abatement. That's how we got to the abatement that we had, that we did do.
The graduated
Right, the
abatement.
graduated.
And and somebody else mentioned something too, and they said, "How do we know the income, the money will not be used foolishly?" And that's where you and I talked about the perfect scenario is to do the community benefits agreement, which earmarks a good percent of that money to do certain things, and that way we know where a good portion of the money is going to be spent up front because we're going to have a community benefit agreement with the data centers.
Right. And when you say, are you talking about tax money spent foolishly, or money that they give to us outside of the
I
taxes?
think they're talking about the tax
When they
money.
say money.
Yeah, I think they're talking about the tax monies.
So here's um Larry, you and I were talking about this before we were on air. Right now, huh, there's such a need for basic things like you and you and I were just talking about the need to increase salaries for key personnel, teachers, firefighters, law enforcement officers, in the city and the county. We have so much need. Oh, and right now the city won't even benefit from this because all of the data centers are in the county. But if we were to have a data center in the city, we would get a 4% franchise fee on just on their electricity. So just just on a conservative level, their DC Blocks one data center is scheduled to use $5 million a month in electricity. So multiply that by 12, you got $60 million a year. We would get 4% of that, which is like $2.4 million. Is that right? And is it, my math doesn't always math, but that's just a franchise fee if we had a data center in the city. But we wouldn't benefit right now at all from the data centers because they're in the county.
Right.
But there's so many basic things that we need to do, um, to just to start even competing in the metro area. Then I think that we should it should I think it should be similar to Splost. We would have a community committee that could help identify projects that can move this community forward.
Well, I think
Um,
one of the things people are concerned about would the money be used to help uh, reduce property taxes? And I was at a meeting the other day with Representative Taylor and the tax commissioner and Tisha Smart Washington, and Rhonda said what she would like to do is look at legislation to similar what the city of Covington did, so that you could pass some sort of legislation to give that tax relief up front. And I wouldn't be opposed to that, because let's give some
I,
tax relief up front, because there's and then
well,
with a certain percent.
I absolutely agree with that, but I would like to see what first. I would like for us to at least get our personnel halfway to the halfway mark of other municipalities, and then I'm sorry, everybody is trying to get out of the. It's about to rain really bad here, so you hear the motorcycles and everybody's trying to move. But I would like to first get our teachers, our staff to something livable, something that's not embarrassing, and then definitely start with senior citizens, eliminate the senior taxes, look at, the next tier and things like that, making sure that we are still responsible with the funds. But, and then on the other hand, the other piece of that is we get eSplost and eSplost host and Splost from electricity usage. So that 3%, we would get 3% of that hypothetical $5 million for other things. So I think a lot of that that money going towards hosts would go a long way in helping to reduce the taxes.
I think so too. And then, like I said, I mean, we'll see what goes on with all that. But I do think that there is going to be some sort of legislation regarding that. Um, and I think the data the
Well, and but with me talking to the the tax commissioner, they have to be very, very careful in how they craft the legislation because, from what I understand, some of the things she's seen has not been the way that the verbiage of the legislation has not been what has not captured the intent of the author. So we have to watch it very, very clearly. I'm all for eliminating as much of the taxes as we can, like I said in Lowndes County, but we have to make sure that we have we take care of our people first. That would be the people who are putting their lives on the line or coming to work every day, offering a service. Make sure that they have livable wages. Make sure that we're competitive so that we
I
can get the best
I
people.
agree with that too. But I think the taxpayers of Rockdale County need to be first. Then we have the other money. And I'm gonna tell you, I think if we don't do that, they're not people with Rockdale County are not going to support it. just point blank.
No, and I'm not saying. So I think that those things are not mutually exclusive. I think that with the amount of money, we would probably be able to do
We'll be
both
able
of
to do
them at
both
the
of them at
same
the same
time.
time. I agree with you 100%.
Um, and here's the deal: data centers aren't the only. Even if we eliminate all of the homesteaded taxes, we still have other commercial properties that will probably be able to do exactly what I want to do. I'm just saying that if we don't if we eliminate all of the property taxes and we still have teachers and service personnel making substandard wages, what what have we really done? Because we got to raise the taxes that we have to make them whole or make their lives equal to other or at least competitive with others some kind of
No,
way.
and I think we would be able to do that, Sherry. I think it's just we've got to realize these taxpayers are not going to be tolerable if that doesn't happen.
Oh, and I completely understand that, but I hope that they understand that um, um, it might not be immediate, and it might be not be complete right away. I mean, we might not be able to completely eliminate their taxes until we get the other things taken care of, but we might have a substantial. Can you all hear
I
me?
hear you.
We might. Okay, we might have a substantial decrease in their taxes maybe the first 2 years until we can level everything out and see. But and let me also say this: I wouldn't be willing to put a lot of money into fund balance, knowing that we could have used it to reduce taxes. So that's where I am. Making For me, making sure that our people are taken care of would be my first priority. Making sure that we are have a plan to eliminate taxes would be my second priority, and that might have to be incremental. So that's kind of where I am. I think we're saying the same thing, Larry. I just think that we're saying it differently.
Yeah, I mean,
And let me say one more thing. How long does your show last?
we last usually an hour, but we don't have to go an hour. Uh, I've
Okay,
got an hour built in.
okay. Um, I did want to say this about data centers. And I've said it from the beginning. Since I realized what data centers go for, or are used for, I think it's awfully hypocritical of people to say no data centers and do that protest on Facebook or Instagram or have a podcast and say no data centers, because what are we going back to? I mean, are we going back? When was the last time you stood in line to get your paycheck
Never.
at a
It's,
bank?
a, it's been 20 years.
When was the I can't I know that I have not written a check in at least 4 years. I can positively say that. And let me tell you, I had to get somebody wrote me a check. I had to get it rewritten because I so don't think of checks anymore. Who these children would stage a riot if we took away video games. We're not going to stop using AI. We're not going to stop using Google. We're going to stop using Google Maps. We're not going backwards. And data centers are a response to consumers' need for storage. Who's gonna Everybody I know, every person that I know is looking at Netflix. What's the polygamy? Who's going back to go to Blockbusters to start standing in line on Friday evenings anymore to get movies? We're not doing it. And and until we start realizing that each one of us individually is the reason for the need for all of these data centers, I think it's hypocritical for people to protest, say no data centers. I think the correct thing is regulate data centers.
I agree with that. I think it's the proper code and proper codes, proper UDO to make sure that
Right,
we get what we want when these data centers
right.
are built. That's my thought
What we
process. What we
deserve.
deserve exactly. Well, Sherry, I tell you what, I I think we've covered what we need to cover tonight. I mean, I think
Okay.
that data centers are now. Do you want to? Is there any projects that you're doing in the city that you'd like to highlight for the folks and let people just a little update on what your passion projects are in the city?
Listen, I can't really. I am working on something that is so going to be so nice if I can get it done. But I can't talk about it right now. But I'm so excited about it. But I tell you what, Larry, when it's a go, I will. You will be in the top
Well,
five
you can come
people.
back on and tell us about it.
I cannot wait. But the city is moving forward, and I'm excited about the things that we're going to be doing in the city. And I'm still always proud to represent the people of the city and Rockdale County. So,
I got you, and
okay,
like I said, I think we all love any of us who run for office. We love our community, and that's
you
one of the
have
one of the
to. You
reasons
have to.
we do it because I think
Well, I tell people this is, and I'll leave after this. A lot of people say, well, I was born here, I was raised here, but for me, I chose here because I could have gone anywhere else, especially after my daughter graduated in 2008 from Rockdale County High School. I could have gone anywhere in the world to live, and I chose to stay because I love the community. So
I did the
there you
same
go.
thing, Sherry. I came here in 2005, and I chose to come
Hmm.
here, and I chose to stay here. So
Right, exactly.
same
So,
exact kind of mentality. Well, Sherry, thanks for joining
exactly.
us tonight. And
Well,
whenever
thank
you can
you.
talk about that passion project, we'll bring you back on.
I'm excited. Okay, thank
Thank
you.
you.
Talk to you all
Later.
soon.
Bye.
Bye bye.
So yeah, guys, thank you for joining us tonight. I'm going to go ahead and get off here as I got a project I'm doing here at the house that I actually had to stop doing to come in here and do this show. But I need to get back out and finish that about a half hour. It's supposed to rain here in a little bit. So I'm going to take care of that. I will be on next Sunday, same time, same channels. Thank you, everybody. And I